All right, everybody. We're trying this again. I have no idea what's going on with the interwebs or whatever. Welcome to the Gospel of Two Wheels, number 125, retry. This is a weird one. I am super sorry. I hope you guys find me over here. I hope that we get this thing sorted out because I love being with you guys. So, Ryan, there we go. Mojo Moto. John Zabrowski, Garrett, there we go. All right. Well, we restarted. We're back at it. Sorry for the hassle, everybody. Yes, I don't know. Anyway, whatever. All right. There we go. It's good to be back. So technology is wonderful. Mike Webster, what's happening? How is everybody? This is going to be a weird, like, blip on the YouTube channel now. Yeah, no, it's definitely, so whatever. I think it's not the internet or the connection. I think it was something in the YouTubes, but whatever. Southern Illinois, right on. So do they make RK Tech heads for 91 CR250 and smart carbs for a bike like that old? So Mojo Moto, you can get a carb to fit on anything if you know the right diameter and length and all that. So the carb won't be a problem. As far as RK heads, I don't know. I would shoot Kelsey a message at RK Tech. He will definitely get back to you. It might take him a little bit. He's a busy man, kind of like me, but he will definitely get back. So yeah, Devin Bertrand, he makes heads for a lot of things. So I don't know how far back he goes with KTM. Well, and here actually, put the brakes on. He'll modify any head. So actually, I'm sending him a YZ125 head for our shootout bike that we got delivered to us. I'm going to take that head off and ship it to him. He's going to weld it up, re-machine it, and send it back. So you can send him any head. So yeah, sorry. So it does not matter what bike you have. He can modify any head. So let's see. Someone asked, Michael Webster, do ever use seafoam in your gas tank? No. The only additive I'll put in a tank is some, it's this Helix stuff, and it's basically to help get the water out, disperse the water if a bike's been sitting a while, and it'll help stabilize the gas. But so Brady says seafoam is good. I've had a lot of people use it. I just don't use it. My bikes don't generally sit that long. The XR sometimes sits that long, but I drain the gas out of the carburetor usually. So I've never had a problem ever with seafoam. I've never seen it cause an issue, but I have seen it do, like, I don't know. I just don't mess with it. I try to keep things going. Brian Dune, yeah, explore Wyoming. I think Wyoming is like an untapped place for dirt bikes. I'd like to get up there. I'd like to get to the Albany area. I hear there is some phenomenal trails over there, really hard stuff. Brady, you run seafoam all the time in your bike and van. Is that so? Why do you run it in your bike and van? That would be an awesome thing to know. Roger Heard, what's happening? Devin Bertrand, ever run avgas? No. Well, I have, and I don't like it. Kelly Larson, it's 12 degrees out and sunny. Sunny is good. It looks like it's actually, the sun's coming up. It's going to be kind of gray today. Mojo Moto, what do you think of the two-stroke oil that makes your exhaust smell like coffee or something? So I don't know if they have two-stroke oil that, like, I know someone's mentioned, I've never seen it, I've never used it, but people have mentioned that there's like two-stroke oil out there that makes it smell like a certain thing. I don't mess with that. I stick with the stuff I like, that I know lubricates well and works really, and that stuff might be fine, but I personally like the smell of a good, well-running, well-tuned two-stroke anyway, with good gas, so it doesn't matter. Roger Heard, yes on avgas. There's nothing wrong with avgas. I don't need race gas in my stuff. There we go. Brady says it cleans, lubricates, and helps with ethanol and stabilizes the fuel. Right on. So yeah, that's what this Helix stuff does too. So, and I guess the reason I have gravitated towards, I stock the Helix stuff in the shop and I put it in bikes that have been sitting for a while, things like that. The Helix stuff is distributed and made, well, distributed by Parts Unlimited. It's only distributed by Parts Unlimited, so it's a moto marketed thing. I mean, you can put it in anything, obviously, and so I just stick with that because it's specifically for motorcycles, and you can only buy it from motorcycle places. So that's why. Not, I mean, it has nothing to do with whether it works better or not. So, in North Dakota, it helps when it's negative. Fair enough. So Devin, my racing battle buddy ran cotton candy smell until he found out I could smell it and run him down in the woods. Devin, that's awesome. That is hilarious and really, really funny. Oh, that's so good. So I love you guys. And since we're here and we're talking and most of us are here, if you don't mind, back out of the chat, hit the like button, because we dropped our likes when I switched things. So whatever, or not, I don't, whatever. But the question that maybe you guys didn't even get to see me answering was Garrett Anderson. He made a joke about the fact that why doesn't KTM or Husky ship bikes with good suspension, and then asked if Brady is part of the conspiracy so that we all need suspension work. And I would... likely is that you? Oh, likey, excuse me. Yes, thank you guys. Yeah, I see the likes going up, so that's awesome. I was explaining that I felt like KTM had some really good setups with the twin chamber forks, and the linkage and the PDS at that time was all really good. And then all of a sudden they brought out the 4CS fork. And, honestly, like, I'm not super picky. I absolutely love my TBT setups because they are brilliant and they work really good. And anyway, all that stuff. And they're awesome, but like, I can usually get along with about anything and have fun and whatever, maybe not go super fast, but it's whatever. It doesn't bum me out. And so, but when they went to 4CS, I had a 4CS bike, and I honestly I did not like that motorcycle. I had a valve by a guy who's arguably maybe not the best, but he's fine tuner. It's not, anyway, he's not bad, and he made it better. But like, I could never get along with those forks. I changed everything. I clicked on everything. Yeah, and that was back at a point where I didn't have any extra money, and so I couldn't just get new forks for it. So I ended up selling the bike for money reasons, but I was also happy to see it go because I didn't really like riding it. And then when everything sorted back out, I got a different bike and anyway, so it was better. The TBT conversion or conversation, I think you mean conversion. Yeah, that would have been the way to go. But well, the thing is that like 4CSs, you almost have to like replace them. Brady Metter, bean counter screwed up the KTM suspension. I guess that's probably true. They probably came down to money, and they were spending way too much money. Because the twin chambers were, correct me if I'm wrong, Brady, but they were very much like the SSS KYBs. They sure looked like it on the inside, and they worked really, really well. I love those things. Hey, Pedro from Brazil, what's happening? I wish I knew how to speak Portuguese, but I don't. Kelly Largent, my 14KX has air forks on it. What run? Okay, yeah, it's the PR2 forks and links. What air pressure would you run? 6.2, 210. Brady, that's for you. Devin Bertrand, show twin chambers on my Suzuki are my favorite. Also like open chamber on my KTM. Yeah, the open chambers on the KTM are awesome. I have a set of open chambers that I'm going to have Brady valve so that we can have like kind of a test set for people to try out and move things around, whatever. I was going to have him do it while he's out here, but there was so much work that there was no way he was going to get that done. He ended up taking work home with him and shipping it back. So we had a ton. So by the way, Brady, thank you so much for all that work. Guys, we are, as Highland Cycles, we are working at trying to become a TBT actual shop and having a TBT tech. It would be Zach eventually. We're not trying to take suspension work away from Brady, but Brady's busy in Oklahoma already. So if we can set up a TBT location in Colorado, we can help serve lots more people with TBT. So what we're trying to do is, before we fully commit financially with the license and all that stuff, we are going to try to get as much work as we can and ship it to Brady. We're working out a deal with free shipping and all that stuff. So if you guys are interested and want to have your suspension set up really, really well, get a hold of me, either Morgan at highland-cycles.com. I'll type it in here in the chat like I normally do. Or you can call the shop, 970-240-2197. Get a hold of me, bring the bike in, we'll take the suspension off, ship it out, get it back. It's super fast, and it'll be, yeah, it's going to be awesome. So that's really, and we service everything. We service TBT suspension no matter what right now. So as far as bushing, seals, all that good stuff. So yeah, we can help you out no matter what, but really want to end up being a TBT. So we need to get a lot of work and consistent work before we fully commit to that. So anyway, that's my last little plug. But 08530 EXC has open chamber forks. Yeah, Michael Webster, that bike has really good suspension, I think, in my opinion. And especially for what it is, it's a big, heavy 4-stroke kind of dual sporty bike anyway. And that's actually really good in the single track too, if you're a big enough man to handle it. And yeah, I actually really like that bike's setup a lot. Garrett says, wait till the angry tech has to do my suspension. The oil will look like molasses. That's good. We got to fire Zach up. That's always a good thing. Right on, guys. Hit me with questions. I only had the one question from Garrett, so what do you guys want to talk about here on the show, Brady? I never did get an answer from you about the air pressure. Maybe you're looking it up, or maybe you're falling asleep. I don't know. I only can use non-GMO soy-based fork oil. Do you stock that? Yes, Jim Nash, we do. It is not tested on animals. It's really good. Is there a trick you use for squeaky brakes? My front brakes make noise while not using it. I don't have a trick except for really cleaning the heck out of it. And if the rotor's bent a little bit and it's just moving a little bit like that, it's kind of hard. One thing you can do though is take it and take everything off, clean the pads. I use a Scotch-Brite disc on my die grinder. Scuff those up, scuff the rotor up, and make them so they're not so funny, and then that can help. Brian Dugan, thank you so much. What type of riding on the KX? There we go. Kelly answered that. Devin Bertrand, 4 strokes. 4 strokes are fine. I love my thing. Dirt Dad, RK Tech head causing tons of spooge on my TE 250. So the question is, Dirt Dad, what I'm 18 TE 250. It could be carbureted or fuel injected. So let me know which one it is. Chris Abbott, I'm afraid of removal. It'll be fine. You just take them off and put them back on the way they came. By the way, Brian Dugan, thank you again. Sorry, gee, Christmas. Hey, Bike Vault. Hi from Thailand. How's it going? Can stick. Okay, so if it's spooging a lot, so I talked to Kelsey about that because when I had it jetted the 125 jetted, it was spooging quite a bit too, but it was running really, really well. And I asked Kelsey about that. I'm like, I don't really care. I'll clean the thing. It doesn't bother me much. But and he's like, well, it could be the kind of oil that you're using, but you know, and the fact that you're not just zinging on the pipe. And he's like, but the reality is, if the thing's running better, then who cares? And I said, yeah, okay, fair enough. But I have since backed the oil down a little bit on my 125, and I think it's starting to clean up. So you can definitely do that, especially it's on a 250. If you're not just freaking wringing its neck, you can run a little bit less oil and it'll be just fine. Let's see. Yeah, Roger, make sure the front wheel is in right. I think Chris has that dialed, but yeah, I don't know. Kelly, trail ride just for fun. I'm hard on it. It's a big 450F. There we go. For Brady. Devin Bertrand, what ratio do you run your gas oil at? So on the 125, on the two 125s, so mine, the YZ, and my kids KX100, I'm running 32-1. Although actually on my 125, I've backed it back down to 40 to try to clean that up a little bit and just get a little bit less oil in there. It'll be just fine. And then on my 300 and 250, I run 40-1. Now I used to run 50, but I'm running a little more oil. I'm kind of doing a test to see how it looks when I take it apart. Just because Kelsey and I were talking about it, and he thinks, and I've actually always thought that you get more horsepower with more oil because the rings seal better, and then you get longer crank life and all that other stuff. But that's a long conversation. But yeah, so there we go. I've run 50-1 forever, and it's always been safe too. So. Oh, Bike Vault. What's my link to Scotland? My ancestors on both sides of my family are from Scotland. So, and like the Norse areas, anyway, all that area. So a lot of Vikings. So yeah, that's my link. It's been a long time. We've been in the United States a very long time. There we go. Mojo Moto, maybe since the compression is higher, it's condensing the oil more. That is probably true. It's probably, you know, as the charge comes in, it's squeezing it and making that oil come in. And then also the question is, what Dirt Dad, what oil are you running and what ratio? So I didn't ask that before. 51, there you go. Run excellently using 175, 45 needle number 2. So yeah, Dirt Dad, 50-1. I would just run it. I mean, and it's just messy. Maybe try, what kind of oil are you running, Dirt Dad? And then Kelsey, I actually never got an answer, because I asked him one time, and I think the email missed him, but about what oil he recommended, because he mentioned maybe it was just the kind of oil I was running. So I never found out. So I will get that information. I'll get back to you guys about that. So Valhalla, yes, Bike Vault, that's awesome. And then Kelly, you see the information, there you go. Scotland in the house, Keith McQueen, yes. I love it. Found it in Queensdale, North Carolina. I love it. Devin Bertrand, my 07 used to spray oil at 32. Bike seems happiest at 44 with caster. There we go. Motul. So Dirt Dad, I used to run Motul. I'm just guessing you used the 800, and it's great oil. I've never, ever had a problem with Motul. But I have switched to Motorex, and like I said, at 40-1, the bike seems to be cleaning up. I mean, I think it drooled a little bit the last time we rode, but I think that's probably left over from before. So I'm burning that gas out of there. We'll see how it goes. Like I said, I don't really worry too much about the spooge, because whatever, I can clean the bike. A little bit of brake clean and a little bit of time, and it takes care of it. So anyway, ever work on DCT transmissions or any thoughts on them? Michael Webster, I have not ever worked on a dual clutch transmission. I have ridden them, and I really think that the Honda one and the Africa Twin is brilliant as far as the way it works, but it's, you know, I don't know. Roger Hurd says Yamalube are at 40 to 1. So there you go. And by the way, Roger has a lot of experience riding 125s wide open in the desert. So Brady, your 4-stroke doesn't spooge. It also can't keep up on a day of riding because it makes you so tired. So there we go. Devin Bertrand, I hate following anyone with Amsoil, stinks and gets worst headache ever. That's funny. I mean, that's hilarious. Anyway, Jim Nash, pretty sure the oil Kelsey recommended is Legend Performance. Okay. I will, yeah, check that out. And Michael Webster, those DCT trannies are, I mean, that's what's in like the super fancy flappy paddle supercars out there. As far like that's what they are, the mechanical part. So, and yes, Brady, that is mean. Gotcha. So, let's see. But don't feel bad for Brady. Don't feel bad at all. So Dirt Dad, I've always used Bel-Ray forever, always ran good. Yeah, Bel-Ray H1R is great stuff too. And so is Redline. Yeah, there it is, Brady. Maybe it's the fact I was tired of riding so slow with you. Oh, that's funny. I kept so let's just have a little talk about Brady when he came out here. I kept telling Brady to go out front, at least with my kids, and he kept not doing that and riding behind some newer riders that were going very slowly and having a lovely time. And then he was whining about it. It was awesome. But then when we went out with just me and Tumbleweed and Brady, he fell apart at 7 miles because his 4-stroke was just too heavy and too violently fast. Kelly Larson, sounds like I better buy a 2-stroke before I come ride. No way, dude. You need to come and represent the 4-strokes and be strong. Like, don't back down to me and the whole 2-stroke thing. I love it. Riding a 450 slow will wear you. Riding a 450 period will wear you out, Gary, in my opinion. Let's see. And Brady Metter, you know that dirt bikes suck. They're totally awesome. And Roger Hurd, Rotella 1-to-1. 5 gallons of Rotella for every 5 gallons of gas would be hilarious. So yeah, I think that just a real quick takeaway on this whole 2-stroke oil thing is that use good oil, whatever you're going to use. Find the ratio that makes you happy. I mean, the reality is if you're at like 50 to 1, 40 to 1, or anything, you know, more oil than that, you're safe on the motor, even like wringing it out really hard. And your motor should last a long time. And as long as the thing's running good, don't mess with it. The only thing I'm riding is the couch. I believe that, Brady. Brian Dugan, what octane fuel do you recommend for my 350R for trail riding, not racing? I'm just normal, dude. Normal pump gas. If you can find ethanol free, that's the best. But just whatever you can find that's ethanol free would ethanol free would be good. Devin Bertrand used to practice on my 450 and race my 250 2-stroke. That is a great deal. I have actually practiced on my XR and then ride anything else. Feels like a little tiny lightweight bike. I always said it was like swinging a heavy bat before you are up to plate. Why are people so intent on using chainsaw oil at 100 to 1? Oh, thank you, Garrett Anderson, for that question. The official answer is I have no idea. I have heard people. So here is what people have told me when I've asked them that, my customers, and I may have lost customers over this because I'm kind of a jerk about it, but I don't really care. Is I've had people tell me it's cheaper. Like, what? Like, anyway, and I guess it is, but like it's not much cheaper, and it's not cheaper when your motor blows up. I've heard people say, oh, the bike runs so much better. That is just not true. period. It is not true. There have been lots of tests done with actual dynamometers and real techs and real science that show that more oil equals more compression, which equals more horsepower. Now, these people who don't know how to jet their bike or are afraid of a little black spooge on the back of their bike, I think that is who is doing it. Because if you get rid of that stuff, it probably might run a little bit cleaner for a while, but it's not running better. It's not making more horsepower. And so, yeah, Paul Anstey, they spend $10K on a bike, and then they cheap out, and the AMSOIL that they're running is made for weed eaters, like Brady's weed eater, 2-stroke weed eater, and things like that. It says right on the bottle that's made for power equipment, not for motorsports. And AMSOIL makes oil for motorsports. So it's a hard no, and whatever. I don't understand people. I do not understand. Dirt Dad, my spooge was dripping along the swing arm. So that's probably too much on the swing arm for sure. I've had that happen in the past when I had something jetted really poorly, but I would maybe look at just changing oil just to see what happens, Oh, here. Torqueline, what is talk here? That is blue healer dog hair, Torqueline. Kelsey, you're here, and I wanted to ask you, I'm guessing that's Kelsey from Torqueline. So what 2-stroke oil do you recommend for running with your heads or anything? Please let us know. So yeah, and Kelsey, please put to death this notion of 100-to-1 or 80-to-1. It's the most ridiculous thing in my whole life. Brady or Michael Webster, yeah, 100-to-1. Like there's zero benefits from running 100-to-1 in my opinion. So it doesn't make any sense. So BP premix leader in my leaf blower makes dealing with leaves better. Smells good. That's awesome. Yeah, spooge talk. I can make a whole show called Spooge Talk. Jim Nash, by the way, bought an RK head. I think maybe we had a little bit to do with the fact that you bought an RK head because you've been looking at them for a long time, and then maybe Matt like saying how awesome it was made you like pull the trigger. I hope that is the case. Anyway, I put one on his YZ 250 and is in love with it. Oh, Garrett Anderson. If Kyle Brotherson was a fan of it, then that. Yeah. Anyway, I don't get it. Like, it doesn't make any. Shay McNabb, Walmart Super Tech. There we go. Those are whatever. That's what people are putting in their stupid motorcycles, and I don't understand it. And here's one thing about the difference between power equipment 2-stroke oil and motorcycle 2-stroke oil. Is that power equipment 2-stroke oil is not made to work with a power valve of any kind, because weed eaters and things like that and chainsaws don't have power valves. They just go wide open and whatever. So your motorcycles all have power. Who's the Islander? That is funny. I'm not going to reread that, but I agree. So Devin Bertrand, don't laugh. He said, don't laugh. I was in a serious pinch. I used Super Tech and did just fine for a 100-mile race. Dude, if I'm somewhere, right, and I don't have any oil for whatever reason, and I want to ride my dirt bike, and I have to put some oil in the gas, I'm putting Super Tech in there. Fair enough. Whatever. Who cares, right? Like, fine. But, like, to choose that is ridiculous because it stays, whatever. It, like, saves you money. Chris Abbott, is there an RK head for the Athena 144? There is not, but we can send that head off, get it reshaped by Kelsey, and send it back and have it sent back. That's what's happening on the 125 I'm building for the Shootout. Dirt Dad, impressive gain for the 250. I'm spoiled 300 rider for the last 11 years, getting used to the 250. Yeah, Dirt Dad, I love 250s. I mean, I made my 250 into a 300 when I melted it and needed a cylinder anyway. So, whatever. But I like 250s. They are definitely different. Having that that little more torque out of 300 is awesome. But I'm laughing because of Brady's comment that just came up, which is funny. that I think the RK head probably solves the same problem as a 300. So, and for less money than a 300 kit. Can I put an RK Tech head on my still? Yes, you can, Brady. I'm sure Kelsey will be happy to reshape the head for your steel. Roger Heard, yes, 125 Shootout is coming relatively soon. And I'll explain that here. If you guys haven't seen yet, from our other schlog, we got it's an 05 YZ 125 dropped off by our friend Robbie Noyles. Thank you, Robbie. He already put an 18-inch wheel on it. He already put a kickstand on it. I have a set of SSS forks that I'm going to put on it. And then we're going to get the head fixed and shaped by Kelsey. And we're going to shoot out. We're going to have the 125 XC that's all decked out with the RK head and cool guy stuff. And then we're going to have my kid's 144 that's got the 144 Athena kit and been touched on and has TBT suspension on it. And then we're going to take the 05. It will basically be an 06 YZ 125 by the time I put those forks on there with the head on it. And we're going to take them out. I've got a loop, about an 8-mile loop in the Adobes that's got rocks, tight single track, fast whoops, and all that good stuff. And we're going to shoot them out straight up, head to head, and hammer down. And then I'm going to give you my personal opinion on them. If anybody wants to come with me and also ride those bikes, that would be really cool. We could all sit down afterwards and have a talk about them. That'd be really fun. If anybody wants to help me out with that. So, do you have to balance the crank going to a 200 from a 350? No, Rick Rumman, which I thought was kind of odd. They don't have a different counterbalancer that comes with it or anything like that. But it, yeah, no. This, I got a thing just popped up. That's weird. So Mojomoto, I like bikes simple, no fuel injection, no computer. I do like electric start though. I'm with you, Mojomoto, 100%. I think, you know what I'm going to say about that. Boom! There we go. Torque line jumping in. Kelsey from RK Tech. 100-to-1 only lowers ring seal, makes the engine run hotter, lowers crank life, and lower power. Boom. Thank you. And this is from a man who does this for a living every day. Thank you, thank you, thank you. 40-to-1 is where we run for single track on 250 and higher. 24-to-1 on the 200 and lower. There we go. There we go. Thank you, Kelsey. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And oh yeah, and then Garrett says we will then see how much better my YZ250FX is than all of them. I doubt it, but it's going to happen. And we're going to start. I'm going to start shooting out all sorts of bikes. Anybody that wants to let me ride their motorcycle, and I'm, you know, if I crash it, I will fix it. I would love to test. So this is a big shout out to the internet world. If anybody wants to let me see, you know, have their bike for a little bit and ride it and test it and do a full test review and shoot out with it, that would be super cool. I would love to do it. I will repay you by full service and getting the thing all dialed in for you. So let me know. Oil migration times are much higher with the higher RPM engines, so you should run more oil. Thank you, Kelsey. I really appreciate that. Yeah, and you shouldn't leave the, yeah, you shouldn't have left the KX because I'll freaking crash the crap out of that thing. Should have. No, it would have been cool, but I want you to ride your dirt bike. So, Garrett, I will let you know. Actually, Garrett Anderson, next week we need to talk because my kids are going to be gone with my wife all next week for spring break. So I'm going to have some time in the evenings to go do some testing. So, Garrett, yeah, let me know. Bring her on down. Chris Abbott, I would love to ride your WR. I think I love WRs, by the way. So, yeah. Eric B. from Slovenia. What's happening, man? How are you? Great. Roger, you did give me your bike, and I very much appreciate that. And so did Robbie. And I'm going to shoot out everything. Like, I'm going to, I just, you know, I got to make time. Actually, these times when I can go after work when the family's not around and I have more time are perfect. I might even take the old KDX out and do a shootout on that thing. And I think it's going to be awesome. There you go. Dirt Dad, 40-to-1. Yeah, try it on your 250. It's like more oil makes more thing, more power. And like, I think Kelsey, correct me if I'm wrong, or anybody else, but Yamaha did. It was a long time ago, but it doesn't really matter because two-stroke motors haven't really changed that much. I mean, the power valves and things like that, but like the way they work hasn't changed much. Yamaha did a test and they found that they made the most horsepower at 20-1 on a dyno. So, Brady, you should bring the KX out and let me test it, because I will give it the thing is, when I ride 450s, I have a huge smile on my face because it's like so much stinking horsepower. It's like scary and it's super fun. And Roger, I think I definitely will put it on there. Devin Bertrand, my wife isn't liking my growing dirt bike collection. Not too happy with me to try to convince me to buy an RM250. Devin, I understand. So here, I'm going to give you one piece of advice that I used. Start a motorcycle shop. If you start a motorcycle shop and a YouTube channel that thrives on having more motorcycles, that's how you do it. I just realized it's 8:15, guys. Thank you guys so much. 16-1. There we go. Less oil equates to less power and engine life and hotter. Thank you, Kelsey, for reinforcing my beliefs. I did not know it was 16-1. I thought it was 20, but whatever. Clearly more oil equals more power. And yeah. So, and I'm not going to run 16-1 in my dirt bike because I don't stay on the pipe long enough for that to burn. It will just make a giant mess out the back of my bike. But I am running way more oil than I ever have, thanks to Kelsey, and the bikes are running brilliantly and super. Anyway, it's awesome. Guys, Punk Rock Club, thanks for sticking around to the end. Thank you for joining me again after the first one got messed up and all that stuff. Dirt Dad, you guys are awesome. Anyway, I love you guys so much. Oh, thank you so much for joining us for this silly show. And I really, really do hope you get out, spread the gospel of two wheels. We need more people riding dirt bikes. It makes for a better world. And I desperately hope that what we're doing here at Highland Cycles is inspiring you guys to work on and get out and ride your dirt bikes.